My most defining characteristic, I mean, you look at me and you know me, it's not that I can grow a chiseled goatee. And it's not that I can grow an unchiseled muffin top. It's that we have 3 children. No applause, that's good. Sometimes I get applause and I assume they've seen some of the footage. So, you guys are good folks. And the footage isn't that bad, depending on the angle. The interesting part is we have 3 children, and we had them all before the oldest turned 3. That's the proper response. In college, they go, oh yeah, 3 children, that sounds great. Oh, that's better. So yeah, you think about it. 3 kids in 3 years. That's 1 goal per period. In hockey, they call that a hat trick. They reward you. And when you have 3 kids in that close proximity, your reward in life is just additional life lessons that you may or may not have got to learn. Now, the first life lesson I want to share is a very common one. Most women are very excited when they first become pregnant. Most women. There are some pregnancies that are due to Jägermeister and poor choices. And no parent wants to get that phone call. Yeah, Mom. It was during spring break. On an unforgettable weekend that I can barely remember. I went to bed with Ryan Gosling and woke up next to Shrek. And the donkey. I know. I'm either going to have a hideous ogre or a loudmouth jackass. Those are the outliers. Most women very excited about that pregnancy, and my wife, pep rally excited. She even wore the mini skirt, the sweater, the pom-poms, the high heels, the fishnet socks, You know what? It's not important. Not important. She very excited about that first pregnancy. And a few months later, we had my firstborn son, Zach, and everything was great. And then another life lesson came along. Some people still believe that if you are breastfeeding, you can't become pregnant. Now, this is bullshit. I'm not confessing to believe that. It just took us 3 years to get the first pregnancy. 3 years to get the first pregnancy, so we didn't work too hard to put a cork in the bottle. So a few months later, my wife came out of the bathroom and spiked a pregnancy test off my forehead. And then she hugged me and broke down. It's like, I don't want to do it again. Oh, honey, it's going to be fine. Ow. We're going to be broke. But it's going to be fine. And then she looked at me with tear-filled eyes. I don't care if we're going to be broke. I care that I'm going to get fat. And a few months later, we had our second-born son, Jordan. And everything was great. And then another life lesson came along. Now, we learned our lesson from that second pregnancy. My wife got immediately on an oral contraceptive called the mini pill. The brand name is called Camilla. The point of this story is simple. The mini pill, it makes it so the breast milk isn't affected, so you don't get any hormone into the baby or the husband. And at the same time, so you can breastfeed and you still have the cork in the bottle, which is something we wanted, which is good. The problem with Camilla is if you stop breastfeeding right now, breastfeeding. What's breastfeeding? I don't know. Maybe I should have you explain it to me instead of just Google it, yeah. You Google, and then I'll have to delete my browsing history. My wife gets mad when I do that. Breastfeeding, I'd probably be semi-pro. I don't know. I could be good at it. I spilled the water? Good. All right. Where was I? If you stop breastfeeding right now and you're on the oral contraceptive Camilla, by next Sunday, if you don't switch to a full lead version of the contraceptive, you will be more fertile than the Octomom. And I must have been sleeping during that part of the lecture. Probably dreaming about breastfeeding or something. So a few months later, my wife came out of the bathroom again, and I had to dodge 2 pregnancy tests. And then she stood in the middle of the kitchen and pointed to the sky and did the best Zool impression from Ghostbusters I have ever heard. It better be a girl. And I testify to you that the heavens shook. And we did, in fact, conceive and bear a female. And although I lobbied for it, we didn't name her Camilla. That didn't work. Her name is Sadie. And she's my reason for living. She's awesome. And you are all glad that I had a little girl. Because if we got another batch of XY chromosomes on that day, the night of our ultrasound, you all would have turned on the news, and the anchor would have said something like, "Beautiful young mother from central Utah strangled God today." It's going to be argued as a crime of passion, maybe temporary possession by Gozer the Destructor. Either way, it's one of those stories you hate to report on as a news anchor. In other news, the Jazz still suck balls. They're bad. In musical terms, they swing like a bunch of square white Mormons. Maybe they'll change the name to the Utah Spaz. We don't know. They could keep the double Z thing. And for our headlining story tonight, adults in Utah now outpace the rest of planet Earth in the consumption of antidepressants. Which makes total sense to yours truly. It has nothing to do with our altitude, with our lack of school choice, with our predominant religion. No. It's our dog crap NBA team. The point is, news people are so callous, aren't they? When switching from story to talk about my Jazz. I have complained and written jokes about having 3 kids in 3 years ever since it happened. But I haven't done too much recently because my wife's brother and his wife were just diagnosed last year with triplets. Yeah. And they already had 2 daughters under the age of 3. I tried to be understanding. I only laughed for 5 or 6 hours. To myself, what if they have 3 girls? They already have 2. There aren't enough bathrooms in the entire county. Oh man, what if they have 3 boys at the same time? There'll be nothing left of that house. Holy crap. I mean, I called him and said, "Brent, if anyone asks you if you're a god, say yes." I think that's my last Ghostbuster reference. Sorry. Think about it. If 3 kids in 3 years is a hat trick, then 5 kids in 5 years is Yahtzee. I mean, they blew out of a mid-sized sedan into a back page Megavan in one roll of the dice. The best response to the news of this horror was my oldest son's, Zach. I said, "Hey, buddy, Aunt Jessie's carrying 3 babies. What do you think about that?" "Uncle Brent's really strong. He should carry 1 or 2. No, buddy. she's pregnant. She's going to have 3 babies at one time. I didn't know 7-year-olds knew how to slow clap. That was awesome. So to make sure that was the best slow clap in the history of planet Earth, I picked up the phone and scheduled a vasectomy. Yes, Snip Snipper Doodle Clinic. Yeah, my name's Brett, and the next time I make sail, I would like to leave the crew at port.